The Seahawks are bringing the Lombardi back to the Northwest, and the party begins.
The 2025 season has wrapped up with the Seahawks Super Bowl win, and we enter the 2026 draft season. But before we do that, let's look back at the 2025 draft class and look at the impact players from that class, team by team, first rounders and beyond, the players that made a statement in their first year in the NFL. First rookie class that we're looking at is the Arizona Cardinals. Not the Phoenix Cardinals, not the St. Louis Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals. Their first round pick was Walter Nolen out of Ole Miss. Nolen battled some injuries during his rookie year. He only played 160 total snaps, but he was an impact player on those 160 total snaps.
Brought down in the backfield, and there he is. Walter Nolen, 16th overall pick.
He had a 14% pressure rate according to Next Gen Stats that led all rookie defensive tackles. No one else is above 9.2%, so substantially more. And if you looked at all NFL defensive tackles, not just rookies, he ranked second in pressure rate, only behind Michael Hall from Cleveland Browns.
Back. He dove over there in a sack. Play made by the rookie Walter Nolen in his first game.
Other draft picks that the Cardinals nailed. Will Johnson was a really talented defensive back, a corner from Michigan. He battled injuries during his college career, battled some during his rookie campaign as well, but when he was on the field, he had some real big splash plays, showed off that movement ability, that recognition that you can see that this might be a good, solid starting corner in the future. I would even say maybe better than solid if he can stay on the field.
And a good play by the rookie Will Johnson.
Another rookie corner that the Arizona Cardinals selected had to probably play because of more injuries into that defensive backfield in Arizona, and that's Denzel Burke out of Ohio State. So the rival of Will Johnson, Ohio State and Michigan, another player that was ranked high through the draft process, but kind of fell throughout his last year at Ohio State, but has turned into a nice, solid find for the Cardinals for a defense that really needs impact players. Got a couple good ones here to go with that crop in this draft class. Next up, we got the new Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. Let's be honest, John Schneider hit in this draft class. First, Gray Zabel, their first round pick guard out of North Dakota State, instantly looked like he belonged in the NFL, jumping up from the FCS level. This guy, as right away in the run game, was going to the right spots constantly, good on double teams, showed a good anchor to hold up against some of the stronger defensive tackles he had to go against. Zabel looks like a future Pro Bowler at the left guard spot. He probably would have finished runner-up for me as Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I really absolutely mean that if I had an official vote, but really liked what Zabel brought to the table, and man, this guy is a bedrock for the Seahawks franchise for not just this year, for years and years to come. Now let's look at the day 2 picks for the Seahawks. I mean, we got a couple contributors here. Elijah Arroyo battled injuries, but showed some dynamicism as a tight end, was able to get split out. It won a rep against Avonte David when they played the Bucs. Battled some injuries, but the flashes were really, really cool. Now their other day 2 pick, man, I'm sure you heard about this guy, Nick Manowari.
And incomplete, broken up beautifully, Manowari.
Now, Manowari was used as a back and safety at South Carolina, and it was just more like, okay, there's some flashes there. This guy has high-end traits. Maybe we can hone him. And Mike McDonald put him in the slot, and wow, used him in the box, used him more closer to the football, and you could just see his game improving when leaps and bounds. Built like a modern linebacker, can run like a corner, has length like an edge player. Very excited to see what he can become, especially with Mike McDonald putting him in the right spots and just letting him go. And on day 3, the Seahawks hit on Torrey Horton, but he just battled injuries. But he returned a punt, showed some downfield ability, but because of his injuries, the Seahawks ended up trading for Rashid Shaheed, which they did not regret whatsoever. But that's the role that they hoped Torrey Horton would fill and kind of fill out the receiving room for the Seahawks.
Grab there by Horton.
All right, San Francisco 49ers looking at their 2025 draft class. Mykel Williams ended the season on IR, but when he was on the field, you felt his impact against the run. Right away, that is where he was already showing to be a plus player, using his length, his strength, can create a fun pass rush package that they can throw at offenses.
As Williams, the rookie, has his first sack.
The 49ers got several other contributors from their rookie class. Upton Stout, a day 2 slot player that I like to compare to Taz, the former wrestler. Upton Stout is going to saw off offensive players as well. Tenacious player, great blitzer. This guy is explosive, and you can see him starting to make more and more impact plays as the season went along. Again, the 49ers found a keeper. Really excited to see what their defense becomes next year. Next up, the LA Rams, their 2025 rookie class. Now, they did not have a first-round pick, and it's not because it's the old F them picks from Les Snead. It's because they traded back with the Atlanta Falcons and got their 2026 first-rounder as a part of that deal, so we'll see what they do with it. But their first selection in the 2025 class was tight end Terrence Ferguson from Oregon.
And the rookie tight end who they love from Oregon.
Again, battled some injuries, but when he was on the field, Very dynamic, very explosive player, fluid athlete, agile, can create some yak with the ball in his hands, and is also a downfield weapon. You can see Sean McVay already likes his athleticism, how they're using him, uses them like wheel routes, slot fades, kind of lines them up all across the formation. The Rams infamously this year used a lot of 3 tight end sets, and Ferguson's athleticism was a part of that. He could basically be a de facto receiver, line up in the slot or elsewhere. McVay definitely likes him. I'm excited to see where his career goes as they add on to these tight end packages in LA. Now, the third rounder, Josiah Stewart from Michigan, had some moments as a pass rusher this year as well. From that feisty front that the Rams have, a bunch of young players on their rookie contract, Stewart was dropped in there, got 3 sacks this year, got some pressures, very bendy type of player, was able to get after the passer a little bit. I loved him as a part of this rotation, excited to see as he gets more reps, kind of complements what Jared Verse brings to the table, complements what Byron Young brings to the table. I like Stewart as a part of this rotation, deserves more reps as his career goes along, and I'm sure the Rams will be happy to give him to him. Baltimore Ravens had a draft class that started with Malachi Starks, a safety from Georgia, another player that complements their defensive backfield, Kyle Hamilton. They traded for Alohi Gilman. Once they traded for Gilman this year, you could really feel Starks coming along. He's a smart player, versatile, can do a lot of things. It's really cool to see him and Hamilton work in tandem together with their intelligence and just having a nose for the ball. And now, bringing back Jesse Minter and his defensive scheme, a perfect fit for what they want to do. Also helps Hamilton play into the slot, which might be his most impactful position. Really good player for Starks that also has a boost effect on the rest of the defense for the Ravens. Good spine player. Teddy Buchanan was a 4th-round pick for this Ravens defense that thrust into the action and did a good job. Really came along as the season went along. Buchanan, along with Starks, these young players, got their feet wet in the NFL. And once they saw how they could use them, ideally, Buchanan was one of those players that benefited and boosted this whole defense. And you can't forget about 6th-round pick Tyler Loop, a kicker. Yes, a kicker, but he did a good job as a rookie, stepping in for a long-time kicker than Justin Tucker that he was replacing. But Loop looks like, again, a find for the Ravens on day 3. And we'll see what 2nd-round pick Mike Green ends up becoming. Had some flash moments as a pass rusher. Still has to work on his play strength and amongst other things. But a guy that got some pressures throughout this year and looks like he can be a nice player for the Ravens front 7 in the years to come. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns draft class, which just seemed to nail pick after pick after pick on a team that desperately needed to hit pick after pick after pick. First, Mason Graham came along as the season went along, next to Myles Garrett, but really it's a loaded defensive front there in Cleveland. He's a unique player, has to be used in certain ways, but you're starting to feel him shooting those gaps as the year went along, especially the second half of the year for Graham. But the rest of his draft class made a huge impact. Carson Schwarzenegger, 2nd-round pick, won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and deservedly so.
Look out! And Allen is brought down by Schwarzenegger.
This guy was all around the football. Great blitzer, great run recognition. This guy really understands what the offense is trying to do. You can tell he studies the game, but also he's fast as all get out. This guy can run with receivers down the field. There's plenty of great plays where he's running step for step down the field in coverage as a cover 2 pole player. You know, that's the middle defender in cover 2 at the linebacker position. Think Brian Urlacher, maybe a little smaller here. Used as a blitzer as well. He really gave centers and running backs, when he was blitzing up the middle, a lot of issues because of his speed, his agility, his flexibility. It's hard to find starting linebackers right now in the NFL, and the Browns found one, and not only just that, a +1 at that. Quinshon Judkins, another 2nd-round pick for this Browns team, a running back that I mean, his game translated to the NFL perfectly. Some of the underlying numbers are a little inefficient for Judkins because the Browns' offensive line had so many injuries, was battered throughout the year. But Judkins, great runner between the tackles, great on duo schemes especially, can get downhill in a hurry, good vision to set up his blocks, and enough burst to get to the edge and take some runs down the field.
Judkins inside Raiders territory, spinning, still on his feet, and he gets almost 10 yards.
Judkins, I really like his game. He suffered an injury late in the year, but should come back fine. But Judkins looks like, oh man, all systems go. Fantasy, whatever you want to say. This is a starting running back, a good starting running back that can get the hard yards, but also create explosives, great vision, just the total package at the running back position. Next, Harold Fannin, tight end from Bowling Green, 3rd rounder. Loved Fannin. This guy has been so much fun, and I think the Browns coaches thought the same thing. This guy is a lot of fun. They used him all over the field, screens, in the slot, in the backfield, and no matter what, he was productive, explosive.
Impressive rookie season for the tight end out of Bowling Green.
This guy is one of the hardest guys to tackle in the NFL. I would say Fannin looks like an absolute keeper, looks like a fantasy asset as well if you're into that. But man, this is a really cool player, a unique player. Tight ends there's different flavors of them, and Fannin is kind of his own thing. Really cool to see his game translate from a lower level, let's say, Bowling Green, not the top competition, but he didn't miss a beat. This guy looked like one of the better athletes on the field, one of the stronger athletes on the field. Again, a unique player and a very, very good player at that. And we're not done. He also had an undrafted free agent in this Browns draft class. I know that's not part of the draft, but it counts. Undrafted free agent. It's that class. Aiden Huntington, another defensive tackle. He finished second in pressure rate among all defensive tackles. Fun player. Bounced around in college, but man, this guy looks like another good defensive lineman for this Browns defense that just seems to have reams of them. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, the black and yellow out there in Yinzer land. And their first round selection, man, Derek Harmon, wow. You get to see what him and Keanu Benton were doing on the interior there. Harmon is explosive. He's strong. He's still figuring out exactly how to use that strength and everything, which makes it more exciting about what he already shown. Good against the run. Showed some flashes against the pass. Can move along the defensive interior as well. Harmon is definitely a keeper. Again, battled some injuries, but once he was out on the field, you can see exactly why the Steelers took him at 21 overall, because that's the exact type of two-way ability that you want from an interior defensive lineman in the first round. Now, the rest of this draft class, Caleb Johnson had a botched kick return, and that was the last we saw of him. But there were some other interesting, especially defensive players for this Steelers draft class. Next up, we got Jack Sawyer. Just like in college at Ohio State, this fourth rounder, he was always around the football. Just a guy that makes plays, can kind of do a little bit of everything. Is he ideally built? No. But guy just works at it, has great hand usage. He's stronger than he gets credit for and plays stronger than he gets credit for. You can use him in a variety of ways. Looks like a nice role player that can kind of fill spots and just stay on the field, can rotate in and out of the lineup, just makes plays. Jack Sawyer had a fun, nice, interesting rookie year, especially for a fourth rounder.
Tip, pick, Sawyer.
Now, another day 3 pick for the Steelers that hit along the defensive line was Yaha Black. Now, Yaha Black is just a bruiser. This guy was tough to block. This guy ate double teams for breakfast. He ate them for lunch, too. Black, it just looks like one of these guys that's just going to stick in there and just give you winning reps. Again, a guy that's not going to fill up the box score, but a tough bruiser, a guy that's going to help out his teammates, can do a little bit to create his own plays, especially against the run. But this guy is going to play reps, play short yardage, play early downs, and just constantly give you winning football plays. Black was a great find for the Steelers defense, especially in the 5th round. Next, we look at the Bengals draft class, and this one might be a little quick because, as Bengals fans know, a lot of the rookies looked like projects or looked like they may have been overdrafted a little bit, especially at the linebacker position in Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter. But Dylan Fairchild, their 3rd round pick, offensive guard out of Georgia, really came along. This whole Bengals offensive line actually really came along this year. This was a top 5 run game. Yes, really. A top 5 run game under Scott Peters, the offensive line coach there. And Fairchild was a big part of that. He's got good movement ability. He has a wrestling background. Sometimes he can get out of whack, but I really thought he harnessed a lot of his ability, his strength as the season went along. Good starter for the Bengals and looked like a locked-in starter now for them. Really liked what I saw out of Fairchild. He looked like the best rookie from this class. Their 1st round pick, Shamar Stewart, was looked at as a project, looked as a guy that really didn't have a lot of production in college, but had tools, off the chart tools. Let's be honest. Stewart looked like a guy that was raw in a defense that maybe was not conducive for a guy that is raw as well. So Stewart's more one to watch as the years go along, while Fairchild was the rookie that made the most impact for this Bengals draft class. New England Patriots, the AFC champions. Let's look at their 2025 draft class. I mean, this team surprised a lot of us. The free agents made a big impact, but a couple of the rookies got thrusted into playing time as well. Their 1st round selection, number 4 overall pick, was Will Campbell, who played left tackle. Is he a guard? Is he staying out at left tackle? I know that's going to be a big question after the playoff run, but Will Campbell was a solid starter before he suffered an injury that put him on IR, tried to play through in the playoffs, and obviously didn't have the best results as we saw in the Super Bowl and other games as well. But still, this guy's a good player. I like to look at him as a best 5 enabler. That means no matter what, you can get your best 5 offensive linemen out there because he can play multiple spots. Mike Vrabel has already said, no, we're keeping him at left tackle. I'm excited to see what he develops into. There's some really nice moments with him. This guy's a technician. There's going to be discussions about his arm length, but still, he's already a plus run blocker. Work on the pass protection. He has the athleticism. Just got to work on some play strength stuff, some core strength stuff. He's young. He's got some great intangibles as well. Up and down the year from Campbell, but there are a lot of nice things that he did this year. We can keep going with this Patriots class. Their 2nd round pick, Travion Henderson. Had the flashes, had some exciting moments, but then kind of tapered off as the year went along. Pass protection was a little bit disappointing from him this year, running between the tackles, a little up and down, but man, this guy could take any touch to the house. He could be a dynamic returner, which wasn't always out there, but he can. But this guy's a big play weapon, whether it's screens, whether it's outside touches. Gonna have to always have a hammerhead with him. Stevenson, I think, had a nice year as well, but Henderson looks like just kind of a nice, solid, strong number 2 type back. A big play guy, work on pass protection strength a little bit, and you got a nice number 2 back that can complement more of a hammerhead role like he had in college with Kinshawn Junkins, and right now he has with Ramondre Stevenson in the backfield.
The hat trick for Henderson.
Jared Wilson played center at Georgia, late to center, then ended up starting at left guard for the Patriots essentially the entire season. Throughout their playoff run as well, they had a full rookie left side on the offensive line. First time that ever happened in Super Bowl history. And Wilson, he surprised me. I liked him a lot, especially at center. I was one of the higher people on him, but had a little bit more polish to him. But you could see some of the deficiencies, especially come playoff time, or with some of his anchor, some of his recognition of games and twists from defenses. This guy's a starter, though. A day 2 starter that they found him as a rookie, more than held his own this entire season. Good in the run game. Just has to work on polish, and that's stuff they could easily work on because he has the toolkit for that. He has some center versatility. I would really like to see him try at center, maybe next year and beyond, grow with Drake May. But I liked a lot of what I saw of Wilson. I think he's a great find. I think this guy is going to be a good starter, whether it's guard or center. It's great that he can do both. Next up is 4th round pick Craig Woodson. And this is why the Patriots made a run. Their rookies were impact players. Even Kyle Williams had a couple flashes, even if there's some inconsistencies. But Craig Woodson at safety, this guy started every game. There was a reason that the Patriots moved on from some of their starting safeties before the year. And Woodson was a part of that because he's smart, a two-way player, could fill the run. Great just tackling stuff underneath. Just a good tackler overall. A very smart player. This guy's a starter. A nice, solid start. He didn't just play because of injuries or anything like that, but a 4th rounder that looks like an absolute keeper for this team. Yeah, Craig Woodson, this guy was a total find for the Patriots. I was really excited about what I saw out of him as a rookie. I think the coaches are too, but this guy has potential to be not just a nice solid starter, maybe a needle mover on the back end, but he's exactly what you want. Smart, maybe not the fastest, most explosive player, but man, just does a lot as far as just being able to fill the run and just make plays on the football. Patriots also had an impact rookie kicker, a rookie long snapper. This is why the Patriots made a run this year, is because not only were they contributors, but they were positive players. They weren't just out there because of injuries or lack of depth. I mean, a little bit, but also they were worthy of that playing time and worthy of those snaps. So interesting offseason for the Patriots. Of course, this year was a super successful year in New England. Drake May looks like an absolute star at second-team All-Pro. They have other interesting young players, but this draft class looked like a good one. Looked like there are several good, solid starters on this class, especially along the offensive line. The 2 2025 rookies I want to talk about with the Buffalo Bills are Deion Walker and Jackson Haas. Day 3 picks for the Bills that started making an impact and really did some nice things on each side of the ball. Some dirty work stuff that really goes a long way to helping out other players. We'll start with Deion Walker, 4th round pick 109 for the Bills. Now, Walker was looked at as a top 30 or even higher player when the draft process started, but kind of fell throughout the year. Worries about his conditioning, worries about where he would exactly fit in the NFL. Well, he fit nicely.
He's taken down, and it's big old 96, Deion Walker.
He is a gigantic, oversized 3 technique. You would think this body type would be one that would be a plugger, hold the gap, but he's a guy that can move across the defensive front and is more finessey than you would think in such a big body. But man, he showed some burst, showed some explosiveness, was able to create pressure, was able to impact the run, get across the offensive lineman's face. Walker looks like a starter and also pairs pretty well with Ed Oliver with his size. Maybe we could find another big plugger on this defensive front that could go a long way, but Walker looks like a future starter and a guy that can impact both the run and the pass. Great find in the 4th round for the Bills. The other guy that impacted this Bills team way more than you probably thought when he got drafted was Jackson Haas. Haas was a 5th round pick 173. He is a blocking tight end through and through, a Y tight end. The Bills were usually running the ball or asking him to block when Haas was on the field. And the Bills were able to lean away from using jumbo, which is a 6th offensive lineman in their offense. Joe Brady had tinkered with that over the last couple of seasons. Haas let them have true tight ends on the field. helped unlock Dawson Knox, helped unlock Dalton Kincaid, and let them split out and act more on receiver rules and receiving tight ends.
And looking deep down the field, he's got Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid with his third catch.
Haas was a great find for this Bills offense and a great example how a role player can unlock other players in the offense and just boost and lift the floor and the ceiling for what the offense wants to become. Next up, Miami Dolphins, kind of have an interesting draft class. So their first round pick, Kenneth Grant from Michigan, it was pretty deep Dolphins front up there. So he had to work in onto the rotation, is always going to be a player that maybe does more than maybe his box score stats indicate. Excited to see what he can become. He was a younger player as well, drafted early out of Michigan, was always going to be a guy that's going to take a little bit of time to develop as the Dolphins kind of get themselves sorted out. Excited to see what Grant can become because I really do think he could be a fun two-way defensive tackle at the next level. So more excited to see what he'll be in 2026 and beyond.
Kenneth Grant finally get to Burrow.
Now, the Dolphins' second round pick was Jonas Sanavania from Arizona. He started the year a little rough, but really came along as the year went along. Jonah was able to kind of show some of his movement ability. He tested really well. This offense, or at least under Mike McDaniel, used and liked to weaponize their defensive line, get him moving out in space, and Jonah did a nice job of doing that. But it looks like a nice, good, solid starter on a very interesting Dolphins offensive line. Aaron Brewer, Patrick Paul, and Jonas Savania. That's a really interesting left side that Miami has cooped up. So we'll see what happens at the quarterback position. But at least that offensive line, they got some cool, interesting young pieces, and Jonas Savania is one of those. All right, let's look at the New York Jets 2025 draft class in review. And let's start at the top. Armand Mimbu, their first round pick. That is a keeper. That is a winner. Honestly, could have been in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year if the Jets weren't such a travesty this year. And he wasn't an offensive lineman, but this might have been the season for an offensive lineman to win this. But Armand Mimbu, right tackle. I mean, potential franchise right tackle. The Jets offensive line's got some cool young players and got some real potential if they can hit a few of their spots. And I mean, really, a lot of their spots. But Armand Mimbu looks like an absolute keeper, looks like an absolute franchise bedrock for this Jets team that really needs it on the offensive side of the ball. The rest of the draft class is more just flashes. Mason Taylor looks like a nice, solid tight end. A better blocker already than maybe he even got credit for. But Mason Taylor, though, looks like a quarterback's best friend. Pairs well with their explosive receivers that can go down the field, whether it's A.D. Mitchell or Garrett Wilson. Mason Taylor can be the short intermediate guy. So I really like what he showed so far this year. Jets got a couple draft picks coming up in the future season, so hopefully they can keep stocking up the cupboard because, yes, this team really needs it.
Boy, thought about it, now tosses to the end zone, he's got Taylor for the Jets touchdown.
Chicago Bears had a very impactful draft class, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Their first round pick, Colson Loveland, a tight end from Michigan. Young, has some length, really showed his hand-eye coordination, also just his balance, his ability to find space and just adjust for the football, and really turned into Williams' best option, really his best friend in the passing game. You could tell Ben Johnson was really liking moving Colson Loveland around. Able to impact the game at all three levels as a receiver, down the field, intermediate, underneath. A good yak option. He's strong, can break tackles. Again, he's super young, so he's only going to get bigger and stronger. And also a good blocker already as a tight end from inline positions. Him and Cole Kmet did some cool things to unlock each other, and Ben Johnson weaponized them completely. Loveland looks like an absolute star. Looks like a locked-in top 5 tight end in the future. Really exciting stuff from the first round pick for the Bears. Next pick for the Bears was Luther Burden, a receiver. Thought of as more gadgety coming out of Mizzou, but did a lot more than gadget stuff for this Bears offense. Still working on some polish, but Ben Johnson seemed to really like what he was seeing out of Burden. Also, getting used as a blocker, Burden showed like he had some real size, some real strength, and some grittiness in doing some of the dirty work stuff. And I know that sounds niche, but it keeps him on the field. And as he developed more polish as a route runner, you can just see this guy is so explosive. He's a weapon with the ball in his hands and a big frame. This is an explosive player that could really pair well with Roman Dunze, Colson Loveland, and build a very exciting trio in Chicago. I'm liking where the Bears are going with Caleb Williams, that Ben Johnson offense. Loveland and Burden are a big part of that as well. And also another offensive second-round pick for the Bears, actually. Ozzie Trapilo out of Boston College. Thrusted into playing left tackle. Played both sides at Boston College. Had some nice things. This is a good athlete. Has to work on some strength, but he has a good frame. has a potential to be that long-term solution at left tackle for the Bears that, I mean, they've been trying to find for years now. But Trujillo showed some nice things. It wasn't all great. He still let pressures. Some of the better defensive ends that he went against got him. But good player in a zone-heavy scheme in the run game. As he develops more strength, I really like where his technique is. I like his balance. I like his size. Trujillo could be a good starter for this Bears offense with some versatility as well. Last but not least for the Bears, their 7th-round pick, Kyle Monangai, a hammerhead in an offense that really needed a hammerhead. DeAndre Swift probably had the best season of his NFL career, most consistent season, and Monangai was the perfect yang to that yin. He was willing to run between the tackles. He runs hard. He's good in short yardage. Also, good in pass protection as well, which kept him on the field for all 3 downs. A good receiver as far as hands, good on screens, just a strong runner. I'm a big fan of Monangai's game, and I think he's going to make an impact in this Bears offense for years to come, paired with somebody else, but really like what Monangai showed as kind of the hammerhead that can get the tough yards and more for a Bears offense that really designs a lot of them. Up next is the Detroit Lions 2025 class, and Tyleik Williams, their first-round pick, kind of did what he was drafted for. This guy is big and he wants to eat up space. He's got light feet. You can use them on games and twists. He's never going to be a double-digit sack guy. He might never get more than 3 or 4 sacks in a season. He had 1 just this year, but this is a guy that's going to just do his job. He is a cog in the defense. Beef. That's why he's there. Kind of up and down sometimes on making an impact, but really a player that's going to do a lot for this defense that might not always show up in the box score, but is going to have an impact for the other teammates around him. Now, moving on in this draft class, Tate Ratledge, up and down as a rookie guard that was thrusted into an offensive line that was getting reworked a little bit, especially along the interior trio. Ratledge, though, did show some nice moments under Hank Fraley. Looks like a nice solid starter at guard for this Lions team. I wanted to talk about their next pick, though. That's Isaac TeSlaa. That's exactly how you have to say it. TeSlaa out of Arkansas was a guy that kind of gadgety in college, even though he was gigantic, got used in the slot almost exclusively, had a lot of designer plays for him. He is still raw as a route runner, but wow. I don't think a rookie had as many impact plays or highlight plays as TeSlaa did this year at any position. He can go up and get that football wherever it's at, way over his head. He's got Jimmy Graham catching range at receiver. He is one of the better athletes on the field right away, and you can see it, fluidity as he runs with real speed, real explosiveness, and just outstanding hand-eye coordination in hands. Isaac TeSlaa is still kind of project-y, but you can see they couldn't wait to get him on the field. They invested in him. They traded up for him. They gave up some future capital, but he looks like a fun project that I think is going to make an impact sooner rather than later.
Wow.
Was that caught?
That's caught.
That's TeSlaa, the rookie who pulled it down.
Next, we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers 2025 class, and the Packers kind of do their own thing. They take their time with their young players. They don't play rookies a lot. They really do not, and this draft class was no different. Their first-round pick, Matthew Golden. It's a crowded room that should loosen up after this year. Romeo Doubs will probably get paid in free agency. Christian Watson came back to the lineup, kind of ate in his role as well. But you can see the speed. The couple times that you got to see Golden get out there and really just get open, you could just see that game-breaking speed. He has to be used in specific ways. I think he's going to still always just be a secondary pass catcher that needs other guys around him. But man, he's got game-breaking speed. He's got some interesting catching skills as well. Still developing as a route runner as well. He can be a little raw. But Golden was their first-round pick, first-round receiver, as they made a big declarative statement about in years. It's going to take some time. Might be a year 3 breakout for him, depending on how this Packers team goes, because this is just how they do it. This is just how they do it in Green Bay. They got no owner to answer to. They can just do things how they want to do it. Now, another receiver is Savion Williams out of TCU. Now, Williams is more gadgety, and he's one of the players, though, in the entire NFL, when he was on the field, he was either getting a target or a designed rush. He is a guy that on the field, they wanted to get him the ball in his hands.
And it's caught by Savion Williams. The rookie comes up huge on 3rd and long.
When you talk about the Packers, they're a little bit different than everybody else because of their rookies take some time. So it might be more of a year 2, year 3 video for them. Hey, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, 2 of those guys that have come along as their careers went along. But same for this draft class too. It's kind of a TBD as we get to see them play a little bit more in the NFL. Now, the Vikings 2025 draft class only had 1 top 100 pick. That was their first-round selection, Donovan Jackson, a guard out of Ohio State. And Donovan Jackson was exactly why you take a guard in the first round. plug and play, shows some dynamic ability as a run blocker and a pass protector. He can climb to the second level. He's got power and pop and anchor. It was all perfect because, of course, he's a rookie, and a rookie, offensive line play can be a little difficult. But man, he did some really nice things. Looks like a building block for a Vikings offensive line that needs those young players, especially along the interior. They went to free agency at center and right guard, but at left guard, Jackson looks like a keeper and a true franchise type player for a Vikings team that's just going to try and keep stacking these up. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles 2025 draft class, and Jahad Campbell, their first-round pick, who had injuries in college, also faced some injuries this year, also just couldn't find exactly the perfect usage throughout the year. Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean also earned some reps at the linebacker spots, and Campbell was just still trying to figure out the NFL speed and exactly where to be at the right spots. But you can see some blitzing ability, you can see some sideline-to-sideline running ability. His recognition has to pick up a little bit, especially from off-ball spots, but there were some flashes with Campbell and be able to run and hit. Now, the player that I'm really excited to talk about with this Eagles draft class is Andrew Makuba out of Texas. This guy can hit, man. This guy fills the run. He's willing to play the run. He is sawing guys off. This guy is such a fun player, and I'm sure Eagles fans already love him. Building out this defensive backfield that has Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and even Reed Blankenship. Very fun room that they're building in Philadelphia, and Makuba is a part of that. I love his attitude. I love how he complements the other players that they have in that defensive backfield. Can play in the box, can fill the run exactly how Vic Fangio wants to use him. Love Makuba. Great find for the Philadelphia Eagles for not only this year, but beyond.
Is intercepted by Makuba.
Let's look at the Washington Commanders 2025 draft class. Kind of some ups, downs, and I don't mean just these players it ended in a bad way, but maybe inconsistent rookie years, but the good was really good, I think, from this class, starting with their first-round pick, Josh Connolly. Connolly played at right tackle as Laramie Tunsil's at left tackle. Whether Connolly ends up as a guard or a tackle, I'm keen to see down his career, but this guy in the run game is already a plus run blocker. Now, Trey Amos, corner out of Ole Miss. Amos, again, battled injuries, but Amos did have some real good flashes. Everyone remembers the Packers game way early in the year.
And Amos, the rookie corner, made the stop.
Some cool stuff there from Amos. So if he's on the field, this guy can potentially be a good starting corner for them. Corey Krosky Merritt, a.k.a. Bill. This is a dynamic runner, and I think the Commanders really like getting him out in space. Just watch that Chargers game, and you can really see Bill going at it. But pretty fun class for the Washington Commanders, and interesting offseason ahead as they try to build around Jayden Daniels. Now on to Big D, the Dallas Cowboys. Just a couple players here I wanted to talk about. First, their first-round pick, Tyler Booker, the capper of a rebuilt offensive line that year by year has now added talented players. A big, massive man that has really turned right away a Cowboys offensive line into a true weapon. He is dominant in the run game and showed some really good pass protection as well. Worked on his hand usage as well. Looks like just a good starter right off the bat. A literal building block for the Cowboys offense and Cowboys franchise for the years to come. Great pick by Jerry Jones, who always invests in that offensive line. Booker is the next cog of this team. Next pick for the Cowboys was Donovan Ezuraku from Boston College. Looks like a nice, solid defensive end edge player for the Cowboys defense. That's still rebuilding this defense, but Ezuraku looks like a hit. Got a solid rate of pressures this year. Might be slightly undersized in some ways, but good hand usage, plays hard, and also just looks like a guy that just brings it every single down, every single play.
Ezuraku, it's a safety.
I'm very curious to see what happens in a new defense that might use him in different ways, might drop him into coverage more. Booker looks like a foundational piece for the Cowboys offense. Ezuraku looks like a nice, solid role player plus is what I'll call him for the Cowboys defense that just needs to keep stacking these types of players up on the defensive side of the ball. Then we got the New York Giants, and let's look at their 2025 rookie class. Their first-round picks, Abdul Carter. Looked like he was making a little run for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Had some of the highest pressure numbers in the NFL, rookie or non-rookie. Sometimes that didn't always result in sacks, but pressures usually lead to sacks. And Carter at college was moved around a bunch, lined up off ball, lined up as a spinner, as they call it, which is where they're standing up over the offensive guard or center. Able to do that in the NFL, especially the Giants trying to get all their talented defensive linemen and pass rushers on the field. And Carter, of course, is one of those. Dangerous on twists and games, can get into the backfield in a hurry, has great get-off, explosive, tenacious against the run as well. This guy is not just a designated pass rusher. Really liked what I saw of Carter. Even if the sack numbers weren't outrageous, the pressure numbers work and the quick pressures as well. Carter is an absolute keeper. Every part about him looks like an absolute star as a pass rusher for the Giants, who already have a couple impact defensive linemen. Now, their other first-round pick was Jackson Dart. Dart had a fun rookie year. Was it all good? Nah, I don't know, but the ups and downs were fun. I mean, this guy is a dynamic runner. I mean, one of the better running quarterbacks, tough as all get out, which is some of the negatives with him as well. He needs to take care of himself a little bit more, but Dart did so much as a scrambler. Excellent vision as a runner, like really knows how to set up blocks, which I mean that sincerely. Has a good arm, is still working on some of the timing, especially on plays that he's not comfortable with. His target chart and passing maps can look a little too downfield and underneath. Not enough stuff working over the middle so far. It's something he can work on this year and in the future, but some cool aspects to his game, and was an interesting rookie year from Dart. So hopefully he just keeps staying on the field, can keep working as a passer, but the athleticism and the toughness are pretty fun to watch.
Here goes the quarterback for 6. Dart takes it in.
And of course, 4th-round pick, Cam Skattebo. I compared him to James Conner when he was coming out of college, and as I watched him as a young rookie, I was like, yep, that's exactly it. Tough, hard-nosed runner, never say die. The ground is lava. I mean, whatever you want to say, this guy hates being tackled. He's allergic to being tackled. He shoves off defenders like they are bad habits. Skattebo, a lot of fun. I'm sure Giants fans really enjoyed watching him. He's always going to have, Tyrone Tracy's there, going to be there for a reason, but Skattebo, tough runner. You're going to love him in short yards, picking up those tough yards, but also a good receiver with great hands, can be good on screens as well. I mean, it's all you want, Skattebo. That's exactly what you envisioned out of him. Now you just got to stay on field and be healthy, but looks like, again, a keeper in the backfield that for as long as he's healthy, he's going to be out there. Kansas City Chiefs had a disappointing year. Injuries to Patrick Mahomes, just couldn't get out of their own way at some times, but they found a long-term left tackle in Josh Simmons.
And Mahomes gonna launch it long, one-on-one coverage, and Thornton makes the catch.
Simmons was coming off an injury of Ohio State, had some more stuff crop up this year, but wow, when he was on the field, way more polished than I was even expecting. This guy is so talented, an easy mover, great in the run game because of his ability on cutoffs to get to the second level. And I really like that young left side from the Chiefs, Kingsley Suamataia at left guard, who was one of the most improved players in the NFL this year, going next to Simmons, who at times was one-on-one blocking with no issues, no chip help against some good defensive ends and edge players that are coming after him. I really liked what I saw with Simmons. He's boosted this offensive line and the long-term projection of it. If they sort this out, if they stay healthy, wow, this offensive line for the Chiefs is going to be one of the better ones in 2026 and years to come. But man, Simmons is all you could have hoped for a guy that kind of fell in the first round because of some of those injury concerns and everything that he was advertised as. A great athlete and looks like a long-term starting left tackle for the Chiefs to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side. Next up, we have the LA Chargers. Their first-round pick was Amari Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. You got to see some of explosiveness throughout the season, especially against that Giants defense where he took a couple long and ran through guys, ran past guys, ran over guys.
And the run here and the galloping move, and look at the run by the rookie Hampton. He'll take it in for the touchdown.
Got banged up throughout this year. Really excited to see him in Mike McDaniel's offense in the future. So more flashes with him this season as opposed to, oh, this was the offensive rookie of the year because of those injuries, because the Chargers offensive line was woeful with their injuries, but very excited to see Hampton in the future, catching some screens, running them down the field. Fun player, explosive player, and got to see a little bit of it this season. But the kind of gem, or really the steal, I would say, of this Chargers draft class was their 5th-round pick, Oronde Gadsden from Syracuse Orange.
Gadsden has it and keep possession.
Now, Gadsden was a very dynamic receiving tight end as in college, very productive, but also carried over in the pros. Justin Herbert's always shown that he'll prefer some tight ends, and Gadsden kind of matches his skill set perfectly. Gadsden has the explosiveness and the athleticism to run down the field, take the top off the defense, can be used on downfield passes like seams and benders and digs. And Herbert showed that even with some banged up receivers, he was like, okay, Gadsden, you have earned your keep and be able to catch these passes, especially in the red zone, had some plays designed for him as well. Now, he's not a great blocker. That's always going to be kind of his blemish, but he's got nice size. He complements the other receivers on this team like Ladd McConkey, complements Justin Herbert's game because of his downfield attacking prowess. So while Gadsden will always be somewhat limited because of his lack of blocking, he's still a needle mover as a receiver, and he was a really nice find for the Chargers in this 2025 rookie draft class. Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders, and it's not a great year for the Raiders. That's why they're ending up with the number 1 pick. So maybe their 2026 class will grab some more interest as they probably lean towards Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. But the first round selection this year, they took Ashton Jeanty at 6 overall. Very explosive. You got to see it at times from Jeanty, but it was a tough year. It was a slog, an inefficient year for the Raiders offense as a whole, but especially Jeanty behind that. Raiders offensive line that was subpar this year, I think is the best way I could put it. I'm excited to see what Jeanty will become in the future. Clint Kubiak is going to be a great offensive fit for him. I mean, how many times have we seen in a Kubiak-Shanahan offense the running back just go off? Jeanty has all the ability in the world. He's got receiving ability. He can take it to the house. He's a tough runner, sometimes a little too tough at times. But man, I'm excited to see what he will become because the talent is still there. Just was a tough situation in Vegas this year.
And the rookie, 64 yards. Touchdown.
Now, the rest of the draft class, Jack Bech started getting some more run as the season went along. Big receiver, can line up on the outside, can do some power slot stuff, which I'm very interested to see next year, kind of how Cooper Kupp was used in the Seahawks offense last year under Kubiak. I think Bech can be a nice version of that, kind of doing some tight end blocking stuff, but also being kind of a fun receiver that can move inside and outside. Curious to see what he becomes. But the Raiders are looking forward with Kubiak, Mendoza. There's some interesting names that were in this draft class, but Jeanty is going to be the one that's going to be the biggest winner of the new regime that's joining Raider Nation. The Broncos 2025 draft class had a few more just kind of role player types. RJ Harvey got thrust into more playing time after J.K. Dobbins went down with an injury. RJ Harvey is one of those guys that does a lot well, but maybe nothing overwhelming. He got a lot better running in between the tackles. You can see some explosiveness, a good receiver that can get some yards on screens and underneath passes, which are a lot in this offense, in this Broncos offense under Sean Payton. But Harvey looks like a good back, a solid back, someone that probably will always have to be paired with another back in that backfield, but looked like a nice, interesting role player plus for this Broncos team. Now, their first round pick, Jahdae Barron, really just kind of was in and out of the lineup and in and out getting playing time depending on what was going on. The defensive backfield for the Broncos is so good, so Barron might be a player down the road that gets more time. But a guy I wanted to talk about was third round pick Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant came out of Illinois and might have some of the strongest, best hands you'll ever see, and I mean that literally. This guy catches just about everything in his catching range.
Oh, what a catch! That's Bryant, the rookie.
Battled some injuries as the season went along, but you can tell Sean Payton started designing more plays for him, especially in the red zone, especially just shot plays that were going to one guy. Bryant was the beneficiary of that. If you look as the season went along, and I believe in the playoff game against the Bills, he had several targets going his way just on the opening 2 drives. Bryant looks like a starter. It might take a little bit more time, but man, his blocking, his ability to get open, his strength, his feel against zone, he was the guy that captured my attention the most from this Broncos draft class after watching their rookie year. Panthers' first round pick was Tetairoa McMillan, and can't really do better than that. Offensive Rookie of the Year in his inaugural campaign in the NFL. McMillan showed that he is a true X receiver, can line up on the outside, can beat press, can win in isolated situations, but also the Panthers started experimenting with moving him around into the slot and other positions to open up opportunities on third down.
It's caught! McMillan across the 20.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, over 1,000 yards. Underlying stats show that McMillan had a real impact on the game. Not a bunch of empty calorie stats here. He was catching first downs. He was catching explosives. He was catching touchdowns in the red zone. McMillan looks like a weapon for the Panthers and Bryce Young and this offense for years to come. Another offensive player that the Panthers took, 5th round pick Mitchell Evans. Really like this tight end. Pretty good blocker, even as a rookie. Inline, can do all the things that you want from an inline tight end. Be able to run behind him at the point of attack. And also a good receiver, just reliable. Good hands, good catching range. I would say an above average, maybe even good athlete, can create a little bit with the ball in his hands. Just has a good feel for finding zones. It looks like a classic quarterback's best friend at tight end. Really nice find for the Panthers. I think Evans is going to slot in behind Coker and McMillan as the number 3 in their pass catcher hierarchy, or maybe just a very good number 4. I really like Evans, what he's shown. If you have some open spots in the Dynasty League, maybe swoop him up because I think he's going to be a good player in the future.
Touchdown! Mitchell Evans!
Also, Nick Scordon, 2nd round pick for the Panthers, also a nice find. Nick Scordon was looking like as a top 20 or top 25 type of player entering his last season at Texas A&M. He was a transfer from Purdue. Gained weight, kind of was a tweener, couldn't really just feel himself, couldn't really find his way, didn't really impact the game like he did at Purdue. Saw a little bit more of that flash from him this year. Just a guy that just makes plays, can play against the run. He has some strength, Does enough against the pass, can be a nice kind of secondary pass rusher for you. Also drop into coverage just a little bit. Just a versatile, just good football player. They need to find more defenders, but he is a good start to add to their front seven. All right, next up, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who Emeka Egbuka, just a kind of do-it-all receiver, does everything well, can line up inside, can line up outside, is a good blocker, is a good route runner, just a Z, a slot that can do a little bit of everything. Tapered off as the year went along, but Egbuka, man, this guy's a starter all the way, a good player, very, very exciting player. The Bucs also got a couple impact defensive backs on day 2. They got Benjamin Morrison, who was rotated in and out of the lineup, and Jacob Parrish was another player that the Bucs drafted on day 2, a really good slot player. That's where I felt like that was his best fit. But this guy makes plays. Just like Egbuka is a football player at receiver, Parrish is a football player playing DB for the Bucs.
Jacob Parrish is there.
Up next is the Atlanta Falcons, who had an interesting draft class. They were very active in 2025. They moved back up for James Pierce, and the player that they also got with that trade, I'll talk about in a second, Xavier Watts. But their other first-round pick, Jalen Walker, showed off his versatility throughout the year. The Falcons' defense was really funky, especially on 3rd and 4th down. Did some really fun stuff under Jeff Ulbrich. Jalen Walker was kind of one of those skeleton key players because of his versatility along the front seven. Showed off some good amount of pressure, could play the run decently, but also could drop into coverage. Had some really nice moments running with running backs and other players down the field.
Jalen Walker, who had great coverage.
The other player part of that James Pierce trade with the Rams was Xavier Watts, the 3rd-round pick for the Falcons. A safety, can come down, can play the run really well. Good in coverage, just an impact player, just one of those players that has a nose for the ball.
Interception, Xavier Watts.
Watts was probably the find of this draft class for the Falcons. A defense that really needed some more impact players on the back seven, especially Jesse Bates. But Watts gives them just a little bit something different. Again, a versatile player like Walker. He finished with 5 interceptions and got some votes for Defensive Rookie of the Year. A nice draft class for a regime that the Falcons have moved past from. But the new regime should benefit from these young players on their defensive side of the ball. Let's look at that New Orleans Saints 2025 draft class, and they started off with a keeper. Calvin Banks out of Texas was their first-round selection, and he looks, no matter where he ends up on the offensive line, that's a starter. He played at left tackle and more than held his own there. Looks like a guy that can get further chances at the position. He could bounce anywhere, and that guy's a starter. But Banks, young player, athletic, big, long, strong, hard worker. For a team that's needed a new left tackle since Armstead left, Banks looks like he could be that answer. And at worst case, he is a dynamic guard or even right tackle if you need to do that down the road. Really like what Banks showed this year. Again, it's a building block for the Saints offense. Speaking of building blocks, we go into the second round, and you got Tyler Shuck, who almost won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He won the Pepsi Rookie of the Year, but Tyler Shuck, once he took over the quarterback spot from Spencer Rattler, showed why the Saints coaching staff wanted to play him. Had a lot of nice answers from the pocket, had some athleticism to scramble and even used on design runs, asked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
On the move, a gallop. He can see it being chased. He's in for the touchdown.
But Shuck showed that exactly what he showed in his last year at Louisville. He's an older player, but you wanted to see some polish and maybe a little bit of upside there. He's got a good arm, good accuracy, got some athleticism. He needs to hone in on taking too many sacks and maybe just trying to find some more plays off script. But Shuck was an improving player when he was out there, and I think the Saints are pretty excited about having him. Gives him a nice potential answer at the most important position in football.
And Tyler Shuck converts.
Now, the last guy, kind of just a little shout out for the Saints draft class, was we saw just only a couple games, was Devin Neal. Devin Neal was finally looking like he can take over the starting position at running back with Alvin Kamara, kind of an inconsistent year, other injuries to that backfield. And Neal's as a 3-down back, a good pass protector, a solid receiver, a nice efficient runner. Unfortunately, battled some hamstring injuries throughout this year. Started on IR, ended on IR, but I still like the flashes I did see from Neal. Hopefully can get him some more touches in the years to come in New Orleans. Next up, Houston Texans and their 2025 draft class. Ariante Ursary was their first pick. He happened to come in the second round because the Texans moved around in this draft. Ursary started at left tackle as a rookie, which is not easy for anybody, especially a guy that went day 2. He's a guy that I was higher on. He made my top 30 in last year's big board and went a little bit lower than that at pick 48. This guy looks like a good starter, even at left tackle. I don't think he has to move positions. Am I saying that this guy's going to be a future All-Pro? I wouldn't say that, but I do think he's the long-term answer for this Texans offensive line that's trying to find long-term answers up front in front of CJ Stroud. Try to get the pass protection just even up to snuff and try and get the run game from not being the worst run game in the NFL over the last 3 seasons. Ursary, though, looks like a key building block at left tackle at that. In the second round, what a find. He looks like a good player for them. On day 2, the Texans went at receiver, trying to build around Nico Collins. Yes, they traded for Christian Kirk, but they wanted to add to that room, and I totally get it. First, they went to Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, and then next, they went to Jalen Knoll out of Iowa State. First in round 2 with Higgins, and then in round 3 with Knoll. Higgins thrust into action, played outside, put a little bit of slot. Big body that CJ Stroud liked to find, had some real good moments, especially in the red zone. Still working on some of the polish, still maybe not the most explosive guy after the catch, but just a big frame of strong hands, and showed a little bit more than maybe I even gave credit for as a prospect, and looks like a good starting outside receiver. Pairs well with Collins, 2 guys with real size. Also gives some inside-outside ability as a power slot, as a blocker, some of the things that vertically that he can do from that position.
He goes deep for Higgins. Caught. Touchdown, Texans, 75 yards.
And also out of Iowa State was Jalen Knoll. This is a receiver that the Texans used as a punt returner mostly this year. But when he was on the field, he had an impact. This guy's got good hands. He's a good route runner. Christian Kirk was on this roster, so the Texans seem to defer to vets. But Knoll's a guy I'm keeping my eye on as the Texans build out this receiving room. Maybe I had to add more to this position this offseason. We'll see what happens with Nico Collins as well and his health. But again, this is a nice kind of room that they're building out. You got 2 outside guys in Higgins and Collins. You got Jalen Knoll that can be that slot. Guy that I've compared him to when he was coming out of Iowa State was Christian Kirk, but could block. Didn't get a ton of playing time, but some interesting flashes when he was out there, the Steelers game especially. Now on day 3, Woody Marks was a rookie running back that was the best pass protecting back on this Texans team. Yes, including the vets that were on this team, Nick Chubb and everybody else. Woody Marks was the guy that had got thrusted in as a pass protector and then showed that he's an efficient runner that can work between the tackles. The Texans improved a lot post week 10 as they figured out their offensive line. Marks being able to stay on track and just stay north on the runs, to work between the tackles was a huge positive for this Texans offense that's trying to build up this run game in some way, shape, or form. Marks might not always be the number 1 guy. They could probably still add some more juice to this room, but for sure is a guy that's carved out a role in the NFL for years to come.
Go to the outside. Marks, he gets there for the touchdown.
Next up, we look at the Indianapolis Colts, their first-round pick, Tyler Warren. I mean, could you ask for more? Warren got moved all around the formation. Shane Steichen just loved using him everywhere. Designer plays galore, backfield. He was taking wildcat snaps at the goal line. He's taking fullback handoffs. He's working in the slot. He's catching screens. He's catching bubbles like he's a slot receiver at 250-something pounds. Tyler Warren was exactly as advertised. A versatile, strong-handed receiver. Good fluidity as a pass catcher. Is he the most explosive guy in the world? No, but this guy constantly gets open, has a great feel against zone. Just right away, exactly what you envisioned when he was coming out of Penn State. Just an all-around football player that you'd love to design plays for. Shane Steichen loved to design plays for him.
Jones, good hands, Tyler Warren, big gain down the sideline.
The rest of this class got some more just interesting kind of part-time players so far as rookies. JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. Gritty, tough, strong edge player, more of a role player. But the guy I also want to talk about was Riley Leonard, quarterback out of Notre Dame that didn't get his first start until week 18 against the Texans, but showed some stuff. Had to play against the Jags as well when Daniel Jones unfortunately went down with his Achilles injury. Leonard looked okay against that Jaguars team and it looked okay in week 18.
Leonard is on time with a bomb to Pierce for 66 yards.
The Colts have a big decision to make at the quarterback position. Do we go with Anthony Richardson? Do we re-sign Daniel Jones coming off an Achilles? Or do we turn to Riley Leonard in the 6th round? Do we go elsewhere? They have a lot of questions at the position. Leonard, though, earned his keep. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars and their draft class. Of course, Travis Hunter grabs the headlines. He unfortunately suffered an injury midway through the year. Getting used as corner, getting used as a slot receiver. Started to see some more of those flashes as a receiver. The Jaguars and Liam Cohen used him in more packaged ways. A lot of choice routes, a lot of bubbles and screens. Started to add more to his plate, and you can see him coming along. He's still a raw route runner. He's still learning offensive playbooks, especially NFL playbooks. You can see him looking to the sideline a lot. What do I got here? And we saw, though, this is why you take them number 2. He's very explosive. His ball skills are actually rare at the position. He's just a raw athlete. Is just one of the better ones you'll ever watch. Unfortunately, suffered the injury. I'm curious what they do with his plan. Liam Cohen has hinted that kind of going to keep him both ways right now. But what he showed at corner was extremely exciting. And really, you see that high-end ability. That's why he was considered a two-way player, because he could make an impact at both. Even if it wasn't exactly as advertised, people thought right away he's going to do a whole bunch. But what you did see was exciting.
Lawrence is able to float it, and Hunter makes the catch.
The rest of this draft class was also interesting from the Jaguars. I thought the two running backs that they took, Bashal Tutin in the 4th round and LaQuint Allen in the 7th round, everything you could hope when you're taking running backs on day 3. Bashal Tutin was explosive right away. Even in the preseason, you could see that. So you had him and Etienne just doing so much speed. Also, Tutin already shored up his fumbling issues that he had in college. Got good vision, good pacing, a tough runner as well, even if not being the biggest guy in the world. The Jaguars, I don't know what they're going to do with Etienne, but Tutin deserves even more touches. Want to see him hone in other parts of his game, but very exciting stuff. A very fast player, but more to him than just being speed. LaQuint Allen, this guy is a football player's football player. This is a coach's dream of a football player. Several fumbles forced on kickoff this year. One of the best pass protection backs in the entire NFL, and he was a 7th round rookie. Had to give Allen a shout out. Fantasy, he'll probably never make a huge impact, but this guy's going to stick around the league for years to come because of his special teams ability and his pass protection ability. One of my favorite rookies to watch this entire year was Allen because of all the dirty work stuff, all the auxiliary stuff. He's a true glue guy. And that's really cool to see at the running back position. I'm sure the Jaguars coaches love him, the franchise loves him, and I love him too. And I loved watching what I saw out of Allen this year. On to the Tennessee Titans and their 2025 draft class. Cam Ward's stats were not great this year. I'll openly admit that, but you have to watch how he played and have to watch the situation that was happening in Nashville. Cam Ward's got the ability to push the football, to create, to do the things that the top-end quarterbacks do. To me, upon review, this guy looks like the guy that's going to get an extension in a few years, and this is who the Titans are going to build around.
How about that pirouette? Wow,
What a play.
I'm excited to see that he had a little bit more polish than I was even expecting as far as how he handled bootlegs, turning his back from under center, how he handled quick game timing. He kind of just gets it. And I'm sure Robert Saleh and Brian Dable as well are excited to work with him this year. The issue sometimes with those surroundings with Cam Ward was who he was throwing to. Now, I'll start with Alec Anomair from Stanford. Big, tough, physical receiver. Had some issues catching the football consistently, which kind of carried over from college. But had some nice moments with Cam Ward. You could see them having some chemistry. Gunnar Helm was kind of Cam Ward's best friend, tight end from Texas. Great feel for coverage. Really good ball skills as well to adjust in the red zone as well.
Cam Ward delivers downfield and Helm holds on.
The other 4th round pass catcher that the Titans took this year was Tremere DK from Florida. Can take kicks back to the house, can take gadget plays to the house. Some solid stuff from all 3 of them, and definitely more than solid stuff from the 1st overall pick, Cam Ward.